Virginia Morrison. All right, so the amazing Virginia Morrison is co-founder and chief executive officer and chief legal officer at Secondchance Beer Company. Previously a successful private practicing attorney, Virginia specialized in employment law prior to co-founding Secondchance Beer Company. In her role, Virginia spearheads strategic company initiatives and business units, including sales, the Giving Second Chances philanthropic program, team talent, company culture, and community and political outreach. In addition to being a Brewers Association board member and chair of the BA's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, Virginia is president emeritus of the San Diego Brewers Guild, where she started the Guild's DEI committee to advocate for underrepresented groups in craft beer. Virginia is an avid mindfulness practitioner and rejuvenates by meditating in India. Woo! So cool. Playing with rescue pup Citra, running in the rain, and drinking her namesake beer, Legally Red. Today we're gonna celebrate her fuck up story. Take it away, Virginia.
It's so weird hearing yourself like in that fashion. Basically, all you need to know about me is I like to say fuck. So this is like super exciting because I can drop as many F-bombs in a professional environment as I've ever wanted to. So, as Ivana mentioned, I am a lawyer by trade and education, and I am the CEO of Secondchance Beer Company by, I guess, chance and a little bit of fuck up. So I'm going to tell you how I came to own and operate a brewery with my husband, Mr. Marty over there, Mendiola, who is pictured here on the right. So prior to this, I loved craft beer. So I homebrewed between undergrad and law school. I was like all about trying different beers. I went from drinking Bud Light to Russian Imperial Stout. But as a lawyer, if you'd ever asked me if I wanted to own a craft beer, I'd be like, hell no. Like, that's not possible. How's that even happen? But then I met Marty in 2012, and Marty had a dream of opening a brewery. And Marty had a business partner in mind. That over there is Curtis. That's not me, right? Ding, 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 first clue. So how did I get involved in Secondchance Beer Company? So just happened, maybe by chance or fate, that I had just left private practice of law not too long before Marty and I had started dating. And Marty, through maybe the first year and a half of our dating, had been saying, like, I have this dream to have a second chance, to open my own brewery, to do things my way. And after hearing him talk and talk and talk about it, quote, I said, shit or get off the pot. Like, you got to do something, because he couldn't have stayed where he was and finished his career. So I said, look, I'm a lawyer. I don't know anything about fundraising, but I can, polish a business plan, use some words. That's what I get paid to do. And I am really amazing at pitch decks, I now know. So I said, look, I can help you fundraise, and for all of those things, like, just give me a little bit of equity. I had no intention on working with my husband. So this is me on a day when I was at the brewery, because I had just started working for a company out of Bellingham, Washington. I'd left private practice in 2013 and went in-house as a vice president. I knew I didn't want to work from home. So Marty said, you know what? We have a 1,000-square-foot brewery. Put your office there. Who wouldn't want to work in a brewery? In the brewery office. So this is me on the day that our first tank got delivered. And again, not intending to work with my husband, I just kept seeing that they needed help. This was a 12,000-square-foot facility, a 30-barrel brew house. We had 6 employees out of the gate, and as an employment lawyer, I know every employee is like, ah! And so slowly but surely, even though I was working this full-time job as, a vice president for this company out of Washington, I slowly got pulled into Secondchance Beer Company, and this is our first brew on August 13th, Marty's birthday of 2015. And this is our first employee, Craig and Curtis, me and Marty. So, I love it. I hit that too soon, but that's okay. So a few things to know about Curtis. Curtis was not much of a talker, AKA not much of a communicator. And I kind of got the gist that he had a tumultuous upbringing and maybe some mommy issues. I have daddy issues, I recognize it. And I didn't know what that was about because Curtis wasn't a communicator or a talker. But the other things I knew about Curtis was that he really loved and admired Marty. And so we were going to help Marty realize his dream together. Basically, all poor Curtis knew about me was I was Marty's wife. And he happened to be at this wedding. So that was nice. So early on, it was very clear that we had some communication challenges. All business partners do. That didn't seem extraordinary. But it was also apparent as we thought about, like, what is Second Chance? Originally, Second Chance was all about sustainability, like upcycling, recycling, repurposing, and still like 80 to 90% of our decor in both of our tasting rooms is living its second chance, I like to say. But as time moved on, we thought we wanted to re-envision our brand, and when we talked about what it could be, Curtis always said we need to be cool, like modern times, stone. I mean, they were cool, right? I wanted to focus on our philanthropy. I was raised on welfare. Giving back was really important to me. And if you wonder how that debate turned out, our mission at Second Chance is to give pups a second chance through supportive dog rescues. And this is our foster fail, Citra. So that's how that debate ended. And you know what? Like, there were times when I thought we were going to make it. In fact, I even convinced Marty and Curtis to hire a leadership coach. And we went through a lot of training together, and there were glimpses where I thought, we're going to be okay. And we might have been, honestly, I don't know. But then the pandemic happened, and it changed the world and our little small brewery. So here's me trying to convince people to come into our brewery to purchase the only and two smallest profit-generating revenue streams we had, which was get a growler or some cans. Right? Like, it was devastating for us. So, pandemic. I remember us standing. We were actually in our tasting room hosting a party for Marty and Curtis's joint former employer, Rock Bottom. And we're standing there looking at the TV being like, what the hell does a quarantine mean? And we decided, well, we might as well at least call off everyone tomorrow until we figure this out. And so when we, that next day, we're trying to piece everything together, and we said, okay, Curtis, you work in North Park, Marty and I will take Carmel Mountain. We just knew for however long this was going to last, that we had to be bringing in money because we were going to be hemorrhaging a lot, right? Like manufacturing, we had fixed overhead, we had lease, shit was going downhill fast. So how did I get to be CEO of Second Chance Beer Company? Through that coaching. I can say, one of the things that we addressed was titles. Curtis had previously been Chief Tasting Officer, and I was Renaissance Woman. And then we started distributing in Mexico, and people were like, what the hell does that mean? And I said, yeah, I get it. And how about we talk about what titles we should have? And so that's how I got to be CEO of Second Chance Beer Company, was because I convinced, persuaded, strong-armed Marty into Curtis, because I was like, this is the role that I'm doing, and I think they finally just capitulated with our coach's help. And so, pandemic kept surging. And I had previously tried to not step on Marty and Curtis's toes because I was not supposed to be here. So I was like, whatever lane I'm in, I'm just doing that one discrete job. So Curtis was in charge of sales and finances and helping Marty with logistics. There's a lot of other shit to running a business besides making beer, which is how I got involved, right? But when the pandemic kept going, I was like, I hate finance, but I started digging into our finances, and it became really clear to me that our business could not sustain 3 partners and however many 20 plus employees that we had at the time. So I went to Marty and I said, this can't be the 3 of us, 1 or 2. and I'm willing to step back because I had been quite successful as a lawyer, especially when I had my own practice. I was making millions of dollars. So I said, look, I can walk away. Like, you two can do it. And Marty said to me, I can't do this without you. Because I wasn't sure that it was supposed to be Curtis. I do, you know, he did bring a lot of value to the table, but he didn't communicate it. So it was hard to know all the things that he took care of until he left. And he did leave. So the decision was made to ask Curtis to step away. And as with most separations, it was painful. It wasn't pretty. But eventually we came to a resolution. And while Curtis is still an investor in our brewery, he got out as an operating managing member. He moved to another state. He got engaged. He bought a house. He's now married. And I'll tell you, for a long fucking time, I was mad at Curtis and I was mad at myself. Because I was like, he got away. Like, I had to manage a brewery during a pandemic for 2 fucking years. It was the worst 2 years of my life. But we're still standing. We're still here, right, babe? So what have I learned from all of this? Ironically, I now coach and train on having courageous conversations. So had I had it to do all over again, before I just stepped into our business out of necessity, Marty and Curtis and I would have had a conversation about, does Curtis want another business partner? Does Curtis want to be business partners with a married couple? No. Does Curtis think that 3's too many because more is not always merrier, right? Like, we would have had that kind of uncomfortable but courageous conversation before I started helping out. And so I would encourage you all to have those courageous, uncomfortable conversations and know that you're going to fuck up. So then my second piece of advice is get comfortable with saying you're sorry. Because if Curtis was here, that's what I'd say to him. Ask me anything. Yes.
Did you ever resolve your issue with Curtis?
No. Honestly, we don't talk to him. We weren't invited to his wedding. I think part of telling this story here, even though it's so vulnerable for me, and I used to never fucking cry, and now I cry all the time, and it makes me really uncomfortable, is because I wanted to put out into the universe that I'm so sorry for how it happened. And maybe at some point we will. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because right before that, you just said you coach on having courageous conversations.
Yeah, that was after Curtis. Actually, that's one of the things that we worked on with our leadership coach. So I did, in fact, have some fairly uncomfortable conversations with Curtis, not even the kind of ultimate one, which is, hey, we can't sustain the 3 of us, and Marty and I have thought that it's you that should step away. And it was his, help that Marty started this brewery. I did the kind of finishings, but I wasn't supposed to be part of it. So now I just realized that, we could have handled that with so much more compassion and really courageous conversations that might have led to us not having this estrangement with Curtis. Yeah.
He also said that he's still an investor, correct?
He is, but he didn't even show up at this year's meeting. You know why? Because last year's meeting, I told him we were going all in on dogs, and he was like, it's never going to work. Who won? Yes, Ivana.
When you were actually having that conversation, was it literally one conversation, or was it this
6 months.
breaking up and getting back together?
Oh, no. No, I'm a lawyer, right? So, and I'm an employment lawyer. So at the point at which Marty and I decided, Curtis needed to be the one to step away, I knew, we already had challenges in deciding how to lead our team. I asked him to stop coming into the brewery. And we didn't tell our team right away, but, COVID gave us an excuse that he wasn't coming in. But no, it was, 4, 6 months of negotiations, most of them via email. I was a lawyer. Curtis got a lawyer. It wasn't pretty or fun.
God, I'm invested in this relationship.
You're to try to find Curtis and broker a reconciliation?
Just talked to Curtis after 5 years.
I'm actually hoping that it finds its way to him because, again, Curtis, I'm sorry. He does. That's like his Facebook photo, and I was like, God, he looks happier than I think I'd ever seen him when he was with us.
Here and get a photo of him looking at you like that. Marty, take it down.
You didn't snap that? You want me to do it again? Oh, okay, thank you. That's actually a decent idea.
Thank you so much. You're wonderful. Thank you, thank you.